Many of you attended last week's event, which was about the Commons and its efforts to foster an entrepreneurial environment among college students. So I'd like to introduce Michael Hostad, Executive Director of our Innovation in Milwaukee initiative, which co-founded the Commons with Startup Milwaukee. And I'd also like to ask up to the stage Alverno College President Dr. Mary Meehan and Cole Strategy Manager Jonah Turner, who's been hands-on with the initiative. Welcome.
Easy, John.
Get that on video?
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks, Julia. Before we get started with a very brief panel, I just want to give a little bit of a background on what the Commons is and how it works. The Commons really serves as a bridge between academia and the business community. And the way that we do that is through a tremendous collaboration with 23 colleges and universities in southeastern Wisconsin. Students, some of the top achieving students from those universities apply into the program, into the Commons. Those that are accepted can participate in one of two tracks. The first track is geared for students who are interested in starting up their own business. They might have an idea that they're curious about, and the program is designed to help them go through that customer validation process and really see if there's some potential behind their idea. The other track is for students who have that sort of entrepreneurial and innovative mindset, but realize that running a business isn't for them. Those students instead get connected through our network of corporate partners who present a real-world business challenge for the students to work on. We've had corporate partners from companies like Briggs & Stratton, Kohl's Department Stores, Manpower, Direct Supply, Brady Corporation, the Milwaukee Bucks, and others. Over the course of a 10-week academic period, the students are taught a variety of different topics. We use a coursework out of MIT called Disciplined Entrepreneurship to help teach the students about the attributes that make up someone who thinks like an entrepreneur, and get the students to understand that those attributes are valuable not just if you're planning to start your own business, but can really be a valuable skill to have if you want to be an innovator within an organization. So our results have been pretty great. We are in our second cohort. We've served over 200 students so far, and we've had a number of our startup teams go into more advanced accelerator programs, including MWorks Workbench Labs, MadWorks out of Madison, and Generator's G-Betas program. We've had a number of students go from working with our corporate partners to getting internships and some even full-time positions within their companies. So with that background, I want to thank again our panelists for being here very briefly, Mary Meehan from Alverno College and Jonah Turner from Kohl's Department Stores. So I have just a few questions for both of you. How did you come to get connected to the Commons, and what's really been the benefit to your organization? Mary, can we start with you?
Sure. I remember vividly the day I received a letter inviting me to a meeting with other college and university presidents and chancellors to learn about the program, and it was hosted by Mike Lovell right after he had gone to Marquette. And it was really, to me, one of the first times I'd ever seen every single one of us, by that I mean college presidents and chancellors, show up at one meeting at one time, so excited to be part of this, because I think we, before we even knew very much, knew the great potential this program had, not just for our students, but really for the city and for the region.
Great, great. Jonah?
Sure. When I was approached to participate in the Commons, I had only been at Kohl's for about 3 months. Before that, I was an entrepreneur myself and had a startup company out here in Milwaukee for 6 years. And I thought the program is very relevant because after school, I grew up in Milwaukee, went to school in Madison, and my first thought, being in a technical field, was to move out to one of the two coasts, and I moved out to Washington, D.C. So in any case, when I was brought into the program, I thought it was very relevant based on my entrepreneurial background. And we worked with the first program and the second program of the Commons, and it was very valuable for us as we got not only the ability to provide a challenge that we've been contending with internally, but then we'd be able to get a fresh perspective from a younger audience, particularly students. And it also allowed us to showcase a lot of the technical capabilities that Kohl's brings that a lot of people aren't aware about, particularly those living in Wisconsin. We do have a large technical facility out in Milpitas, which is in Silicon Valley, but we have a lot of that strategy development in Milwaukee. So being able to connect with the students to kind of let them know that in Milwaukee, we've got companies like Briggs & Stratton, Johnson Controls, Harley-Davidson, Kohl's. They're all doing technical things that doesn't necessarily require you to move out of the state to participate in. And for us, it was very valuable. Out of our first program, we had about 6 students. We actually hired 2 of them out of the program. And interestingly, one of them was in a field, a communication student at Mount Mary University, which was probably a student we wouldn't necessarily go after, and she has since been hired in our IT department based on the leadership skills that she was able to demonstrate in this small program.
Jonah, I want to just build on that for just a minute. How has working with the Commons changed how Kohl's does its talent acquisition? And maybe you can talk a little bit about your university relations team and how this has sort of folded into that.
Sure. For certain positions, they do focus on some of the larger schools, Wisconsin. There's not a lot of awareness of the kinds of students. So the Commons, it gives us direct access to some of the best students that are coming out of the program, and then working with the organization Mike, they can kind of make recommendations or pair us up with the students that they feel would be the most fitting. And as a result then, we can bring those students into Kohl's and they can have direct exposure and access to some of the key stakeholders that make those decisions, as well as people like me who are out there looking to see, what kind of talent is available.
Mary, we heard Mr. Daniels just earlier talking about the Milwaukee Fellows Program and the importance of bringing talent back to Milwaukee. How important is it, and what role do you see the Commons playing in terms of helping keep talent here in Milwaukee?
I think the Commons plays a critical role in keeping talent in Milwaukee, and also many of our colleges and universities also have students from outside of Milwaukee that hopefully will stay here. So I think it's on both sides of the spectrum, both people already here and people we want to bring and stay here. The opportunity, not just for the students in the program, but when they go back to their campuses and talk about what they're learning and what they're seeing, is so important. They need to know they're part of a vibrant community that really cares about them and their future and also values what they're doing. I feel that it's so important for young people today to know that they can go into a company and from day one be respected and that their input matters. And when they receive internships and positions, as they have at Kohl's and other companies, it helps them really feel invested in this community. And I'll also add, all of us who are also employers, we know that we complain often that students come out and they're not well prepared in terms of communication skills, teamwork, critical thinking. This is an opportunity to observe students working in these kinds of environments cross-functionally on teams that of students who don't even know each other, and how quickly they're able to grasp or take it through to completion is such an important learning experience for them, as well as for employers and companies watching this and seeing that there is talent here and there's great potential. So I think I know of very few projects in this city that are a win-win on every front, and this one certainly is.
Great, thank you. So last question before we close. You both have been involved since the beginning. The program turns a year old this week, actually. Where do you see it going in the future, and how do you think it can impact the region? Mary, we'll start with you.
I think as it expands and more people know about it, it will be a model. And I think one of not just the advantages locally, but I think as the rest of the country sees this, I don't know of anybody that's doing quite what we're doing. I think we can really bring a light on what we're doing here in Milwaukee and beyond just the impact on our own community. Not just has the potential, it can do it. It just means we all have to get behind it and stay behind it.
Great. Jonah?
Yeah, as Mary suggested, it's a win-win on all fronts. I can see, for us, it's benefited us not just from the student perspective, but being able to connect with the other organizations that are participating in the program to learn about what things are doing with respect to technology and innovation and talent acquisition. And then I think for us, just being able to build up the community in Milwaukee and participating in those programs is a huge opportunity for us, and we know for the students. I'm just thinking in 2 weeks now, our students are going to come in 6 students, again, who we probably would never have communicated with. In front of about 60 different executives, and they're going to hear these ideas. So I think as our story becomes prevalent out there and other students are going to understand what this program is all about, it's going to become more, bring the best talent in Milwaukee into the program.
Great. Mary and Jonah, I want to thank you very much and let you all know that if you are interested in becoming more engaged with the Commons, come see me or Maggie after the program. We're happy to talk to you about how you can put forward a corporate challenge or serve as a mentor. Likewise, on November 22nd is our final demo day where the students will be presenting their work to a group of about 200, 250 community members, professionals, and others from Milwaukee. So you're welcome to join us. So with that, I want to thank Mary and Jonah again. Thank you very much.